We look ahead to this weekend's Ulster Club Championship. Thankfully, I'm joined on the line by somebody who knows everything there is to know about it. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Aaron. 18 Armagh, 8 Ulster, 3 All-Ireland titles. So you've walked this walk a few times. Hopefully I've got that right.
Yeah. No, that's them all accounted for. But I love this time of year. Obviously, the buzz of coming off winning your county title, enjoying and savouring that there for a few days. But I suppose the advantage that I had then was I came into a very established team. The winning county titles wasn't enough. I suppose an Ulster and All-Ireland title was the next thing that you needed to go chasing. So it was fairly handy for us to be grounded and brought back down there more often than not. There's certainly times where we get caught. But I suppose that's the bit where you're obviously looking forward and you're thinking about all these games. It's just the difference in the experience levels. Obviously, it's not given a great weekend. It hasn't been a great week's weather. So that is a bit of a leveler in terms of you have the experience and you've been here and you've done that and you know what comes with us clubs. But yeah, absolutely brilliant time of the year. I love playing them, and even now I love just sitting down the Saturday evenings, the Sunday evenings, and watching the teams from all across the different provinces doing their bit at club level, provincial level.
Probably a really difficult one, and we're tight for time, but is there an Ulster Club game that jumps out right away at you as your favourite? Probably difficult, but maybe it's one that you've never forgotten about.
I suppose I don't know why there's one that always, I suppose, on a personal point of view, maybe, or just in terms of a team.
No, just personally, just the one that jumps out at you, because I'm a bit like yourself. I love the competition, but you've obviously walked that walk. I'm just wondering what jumps out at you.
We were in so many battles over the years, and the thing I loved most about it was you're always coming up against really good opposition, and that's the bit that I took the most pride and the most satisfaction is, particularly with beating good teams, beating the best teams. And as much as it might have annoyed the likes of a St. Gall's or a Ballinderry or whatever, they were personally they were the games that I got the most out of, because I knew I was coming up not against a good individual, but I was coming up against a good team. And then for us to being able to beat them or to go out and perform well in those days, just a sense of satisfaction you would have got in the changing rooms immediately afterwards, but then the confidence that you take from knowing we've just beat a good team or I've just gone up against a top class player and being able to hold me own and do my bit. That's the bit that I got the most enjoyment out of in them all. And like one at Ulster, so it's very hard to pick which one of them was the most enjoyable. Obviously the first one and beating Mayo Bridge way back in 2004 was very special, because again I'd been on, like, you're a teenager growing up across and you're seeing them winning Armagh Ulsters and All-Irelands, and that very soon becomes what you're looking to aspire to. And then I was on the panel from 2001 and we never got the provincial final, let alone win one until 2004. So yeah, that was special. But I suppose on a personal level, one game that stands out to me was a Ballinderry game. We played them in Casement Park. I think it was semi-final 2012. Sorry, but I was injured for the 2006 one. I'd broken my hand in an Ulster quarterfinal that year. That stands out for just the weather. That 6
years, something, was it?
Ended up, something like that. But the weather was horrendous. But yeah, it's the 2012 one. Personally, Everton went right for me on the day. I just felt, sort of pick your power sort of thing. We were in a go a few years at that stage, and I think Tony Mack and Gareth O'Neill had sort of pulled fast when they told me I was marking Animal Doom, and I wasn't really that sure about that on myself because of obviously how good he was, and he was bigger than me. But my job was run, get the other end of the field, get on the ball, make as much happen as what you possibly could. And then there was he was probably too much of a team player in terms of he ran after me where he should have told someone who is maybe younger in age to go and do the donkey work in terms of that, because I wouldn't have been fit for him going the other direction. But anyway, it was a game that I just really enjoyed. We looked like we were pulling away, and then they come back really strong and nearly clipped it in the end. And obviously they went on then to win Ulster. I think it was maybe the following year, maybe the year after. And to be fair, again, be similar some goals. The goals would have won more All Irelands had we not been seen. I'm fairly sure Ballinderry or another team that would feel that way also.
In no particular order this weekend, Aaron, I suppose there's a lot of new teams, obviously, in Newbridge and Madden. You have obviously saw Madden up close there, obviously for your county, but Newbridge they're in their second season. Madden are going there for the first. So, what's that like? Do you feel is novel the key word here, or is there something else?
Again, I suppose from the outset, like I had mentioned, bit of experience getting into Ulster, it absolutely helps because it's different. And you're not used to it in terms of the preparation, but you're just not used to coming up against teams from other counties, having your homework done on them. So I certainly feel that Newbridge have the advantage in that regard. In terms of they won their championship last year, the euphoria that came with it, still give a really good account of themselves in Ulster. And we're lucky against Erin, but there's no point in saying it is an advantage because Madden are coming out, like that was the Newbridge's first ever. This is Madden's first ever. They'd only ever been in a final previously once in 1988. Now, to be fair to them, they have been coming for 4 or 5 years within Armagh, and it set out their stall in terms of doing well at underage. The boys that did won an Ulster on the 16 Paul McGarr tournament. They didn't win a minor, but then they won a 21. So a lot of this group has come through successful underage teams. It's just, can you get the pitch of wherever they go now within Madden, everyone they'll be talking to are buzzing. There's the euphoria that comes with winning, and the players feel that there. And sometimes you can be happy with your lot. And whenever it really comes to the crunch, they kept going another level within Armagh because that desperation was there to win something. It's very hard to flick that switch and flick that mindset to now go after something new. But to have an experienced management team, which is a huge advantage in terms of being there as players, but also being there as a management team in Adrian O'Donnell and Mark Hart. So that is an advantage to them in terms of you can be sure they were in Owen Beg at the weekend looking at Newbridge, and that's key for Madden. But I would give a slight advantage just in terms of that wee bit of experience now that Newbridge have at this level, more so than Madden. And then you throw in they have a game actually under their belt at the weekend where by no means a standout performance for them, but you can't take away from Dunloy asking questions of them and Dunloy making sure that they made it really competitive throughout. But I always found that was great to get you up running and iron a few things out. Maybe things were going well in Derry, and I know there's a different level. Again, that's key for them coming in this week, that they'll have picked up a bit and they're up and running now within Ulster.
If you're playing for Newbridge, would you love somebody tapping you in the shoulder and saying you're marking Dara McMullen?
You want to get at yourself. To be fair to Dara, Dara's dad actually, James Hughes, Lord, he was across McGlen man, would have a number of Armagh, Ulster and All Ireland titles as well. But super player, super young lad, great engine, and everything goes through him. He just has the athleticism. He'll drop deep, get on the ball, connects defence to attack really, really well. And up front they have a number of shooters. Like the county final was always going to come down to probably who hit the most between Conor Grimley and Nugent, and the two players similar. Once they're in, you're talking 8 to 12 points a game that they have the capability of kicking, particularly with the new 2-pointers. But Dara, yeah, he's absolutely key. Had a brilliant season for Armagh and will only get better, and then carry that form into the club. But again, Newbridge have quite a few boys who have operated at a really high level with Derry for a number of years. I'm fairly sure they'll have their homework done, and Dara won't be afforded the same freedom or space as what he did in the county final. But the best players always find a way to get themselves into it. And like we mentioned, weather and coming into the Ulster series, you don't get to play maybe the free flow and attractive football that you would love to play. But he has the skill set in Dara in terms of possession, making things happen, biding his time. And yeah, he'll tailor his game to suit conditions or whoever comes up against him.
Kilcoo, Loup McCrory, 7 in a row. Kilcoo, Loup McCrory, as you say, but like Madden, they've never ever walked this before. So this is the biggest extreme in terms of experience. In terms of experience, Ulster.
It is for sure. Loup McCrory's story has been absolutely incredible. I remember reading maybe last week they hadn't played in an intermediate final and now they're senior champions. So it's fairy tale stuff for them. But they have boys who are used to success at college or at schools level, have carried it into Tyrone at underage level, and clearly in terms of if the clips I've seen of Loup McCrory in the Tyrone Championship, and obviously the bits you would have seen with those boys operating at Oma CBS and obviously Tyrone underage level, they're super footballers, but you can see that they're conditioned to be inter-county footballers. And obviously we're talking about McCullough and McElhone in particular up front. But whenever you have young boys like that coming through in your club, you have the potential that they have and the skill set that they have, but then clearly have the mindset to want to get to that next level. That's infectious with their team and are following a program to advance them. 2 or 3 of their friends start going with them. And next thing you know, you have 9 boys who are conditioned to be elite under 20 inter-county footballers who want to get to the next level again. So I think if you just physically look at the conditioning of the Loup McCrory team, and to be fair, like an awful lot of teams who come out of Tyrone club football, because it is so competitive, you just simply have to be at that level or else you can't compete at club level. And there are so many teams every year who can, raise the bar, win championships. We know no one's done back-to-back since 2005. So the skill set is there. And to me, the physical catch them out is that they put so much into winning Tyrone. I know what is a tough championship to win, but I genuinely feel hand on heart, with the exception of Argyll and with the exception probably of Trillick because they've won a few this past 10 years, the edge comes off them completely. My own personal opinion is they're happy with their lot once they've won Tyrone, and they don't bring the same level to the provincial series as what Argyll have done and as what, like I said, Trillick have done, because Trillick have won the 3 or 4. And I think they'll find that very hard as first-time winners to change that mindset again completely, having won the championship that they won, to get to a level like Kilcoo will be sitting there. Their eyes are set on Ulster. Their eyes weren't set on a down champion. Obviously, they wanted to do in 7 in a row, but whenever you're at the level and operating that they're at, like it's not a given that you win your club championship, but I have been there. Like you're looking bigger. You're looking at a provincial final and you're working your way back. There's no point in telling you otherwise. That is what happens with them. Whether the Kieran Mina Conor Laverty thing in terms of knowing each other inside out,
so close. They're so close.
So does that help either team? I'm not so sure, but Kilcoo won't be caught complacent this weekend. Can Loup McCrory find another level? That they're not happy with their lot, and who's to say if they'll ever get back again? To me, it would be an awful wasted opportunity for them not to go out and give a good account, because Kilcoo's obviously experience and know-how at this time of year, ball skill abilities is top class. But from what I've seen of Loup McCrory, that youthful enthusiasm, the skill set, the athleticism, the pace, they have that as well to match Kilcoo. It really will come down to mindset this weekend. I'm looking forward to we'll see that one on Saturday evening on RT, I believe. But you would have to think that just Kilcoo's know-how, haven't been here, done that. Even if it becomes a battle for 40-45 minutes, they'll just find a way, as they have done on way too many occasions. But I honestly hope now that the Loup McCrory boys, that they've enjoyed their past week, but you have to knuckle down, reset, and give a proper account of themselves going into Ulster, because you don't win Tyrone unless you've an exceptionally good bunch of players.
I'm conscious of your time, Erin, but like Scotstown versus Naomh Conaill, I was in the athletic grounds in 2015, went to extra time. They were so close and they didn't get there, but now they're back again. I think some of the lads, correct, I think if some of the lads have 10 medals, which is colossal, versus a Naomh Conaill team who just seem to refuse to go away in Donegal. And I know from chatting to the V, he would always tell you that they're impossible to put away. So for me, this is a really intriguing game. I'm not sure how you see it. I don't know who's going to come out of this from myself.
Yeah, I find it very hard to call. Like going back to that 2015 Ulster final, I suppose going back to unbelievable games of football I've ever played in, that was another one. And yeah, a lot of players begging. Obviously the two Hugheses, Shane Carey, Conor McCarthy, Damien McCardle, those guys are all playing back then, and they're all still there. I dropped Aaron Hughes a message, congratulating him on his inter-county career, and he said he had a bit more to do level, because we'd knocked him a few times or disturbed him in trying to achieve what he wants to do with them. So in terms of, if you look at the whole Ulster landscape, knowing the draw, the experience that they have is probably, you'd be thinking, coupled only by Kilcoo. But the worst possible draw they could get is Glenties, is Naomh Conaill, because they are similar. This is the one where it's two teams with huge experience at this level, and they're paired up against each other. So I would find it very hard to call. Scotstown, again, they got pushed to the pin of the collar. I was at it, the Monaghan County final 2 weeks ago, and the huge difference was obviously O'Toole and McCarthy coming on the last minutes. Just the quality that they brought, even though they hadn't a huge amount of football under their belt, just getting the ball into players of that quality's hands. They made things happen that, as it went in extra time in a scheme, just simply ran out of legs and options with them. So I couldn't see them starting again because they've missed so much football. But again, they've got 10 minutes plus extra time underneath their belt in the county final. If they don't start, I certainly see them being rolled off the bench early in the second half. And that would be a huge plus for them. I'm not sure the ins and outs of what's happening with the few inter-county players in terms of McKelvey and Kieran Thompson and that, who are struggling with injuries for Naomh Conaill.
Kieran Thompson's out. Martin Regan was talking to me at the press day just about, he's there at training, driving it on, but he's obviously not putting on the boots. And that level of experience, Aaron, it's just not there. It's a huge loss for Naomh Conaill.
It is, and they battled back from so many games within Donegal, and you could just see even a team that had won as many, what it meant to them, because clearly everyone was thinking, with those few players missing, that they were there to be taken this year. But they have an influx of new young players, none more so obviously than Finbar Rorty, to raise the bar for them. But if I was a betting man, I would probably, off the back of that news, if you're telling me Kieran Thompson isn't going to play, and knowing the two boys that Scotstown have to come off the bench, I would give it a narrow win to Scotstown. Again, conditions plays a huge amount in it. Experience plays a huge amount into it. So ball retention, kick out options, both teams have that. But I'd give a very, very slight nod to Scotstown to just do enough to get across the lane in this one. But it's another game similar to the Kilcoo Loup McCrory one that you would love to be sitting down and tuning into.
And Kingscourt against Erin Giles. Erin Giles obviously needed a replay, which tells you they've got a good underbelly. Kingscourt, was it a couple of years ago, they got an awful trouncing by Gowna, and then they came back and are champions again. So how do you see this one? Erin Giles, obviously they had won last year, they've backed it up now again. Like probably get out of jail card against Derry Gonley in that first game, but made no mistake the second day out. So yeah, like they're carrying that wee bit of experience into the provincial campaign. And it's not too long now since Kingscourt were in the provincial campaign as well. But you're right, they shipped, if memory corrects me, I think maybe 5 goals against a couple of years ago. And then they were well beaten whenever they'd got to Ulster by Kilcoo. So they certainly turned the table in Gowna this year. Like Gowna, I seen them in Ulster a couple of years ago, and they've been threatening to not only win Cavan but take that next step, because they have a lot of boys who are operating at inter-county level with Cavan. But the goals were the huge difference in that county final this year. Obviously Jordy Morris, who I'm keeping a keen eye on now as well through involvement with Meath. Like he's a prolific inside forward who
that extra bit of space that it affords him now. He has obviously the point scoring ability, but he has that one-on-one ability to make things happen. So he's going to be extremely hard to tie down in Ulster club football if he carries on his summer form and his Meath form as he did in the county championship. So the likes of him and Pádraig Faulkner, in terms of boys who have been operating at a really high end, I would see them in the difference this weekend. Ryan Lyons obviously is a huge player for Erin Gales and has been for Fermanagh as well. He'll be looking to maybe go toe to toe with the likes of a Faulkner, but just this time of year when men are needed in Ulster campaigns, this is the sort of time that you see Pádraig Faulkner reveling. He got that All-Star obviously back in the COVID championship. Whenever it was played at this time of year, and just heroic stuff from him, and he does that day in day out for Kingscourt. So he's the sort of player that if he's, as he normally does, hits that 8, 9 out of 10 performance, that he just raises the bar and the standards for all those around him. So if he has a big game and Jordy Morris gets enough of the ball, I would think that they might just have enough of a scoring threat with him, that they'll be able to see this one out as well and make it back to a provincial semi-final.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I was just informed at the press day that Pádraig Faulkner he's gone travelling.
Oh right, well then that's
because I think he'd been putting it off, and I happened to be chatting to somebody at the press day, and he says, "Look, he's definitely gone." And like everything you said about him there, Aaron, is exactly what they're going to be missing. So it's an awful, like it's like Kieran Thompson as well. It's an awful void of, I suppose, everything that he offers.
Well, that's a game changer for me. And again, not with who has everyone's entitled to do their own thing, everyone's entitled to travel, but it's not people going traveling. It's your main man going traveling. And to be fair to him, like he does need a break between constantly going with Cavan and just how he plays day in day out. I have no issues with him going, but psychologically that has a bigger effect on the Kingscourt playing group than losing just his ability, because your main man's gone, your talisman's gone. And others then, if this comes to the wire again against a battle-hardened outfit now, like Erin Gales are, how much do the rest of them really believe that they can take that next step? It's that's a huge blow for them. If you don't have that man, whenever it comes to it on a dirty weekend here, when someone needs to win a ball and he's usually the man that does it for you, psychologically it is a big blow, as well as obviously just purely the talent and the leadership that he brings. This time of year, always there's a bolter that'll come somewhere. Maybe he mightn't be a county player, someone who just grabs a game, and you're sitting back on these wet Saturday and Sundays and you're looking and going, never heard of that man before, but Jesus, he has plenty about him. He's a great club man. But yeah, that certainly is it's a leveler for that one, and it absolutely leaves it, if that is the case, that it would be a 50-50 game for me.
I suppose finally you did touch on the Meath thing. I suppose it's something you're looking forward to. Have you been to a lot of Meath football then, or are you trying to balance everything, because it's an exciting opportunity, I would imagine?
It is, yeah. Obviously, like they'd made huge strides last year under Robbie and his management team. And yeah, it's a bit of a bolt out of the blue. I wouldn't have had a relationship at all with Robbie or any of the management team for that matter. But yeah, seeing what they've done and just hearing plenty about the sort of the Meath environment that they have, and county as a whole, it was one that you're more than happy to get involved in. So yeah, because of that, like from the group stages of the championship, you're trying to get in as many club games as what you had. Obviously, I would have watched them all throughout last year because they played plenty of big games. But yeah, you need to be getting in and seeing boys in club action to get maybe a bit of a feel, or else, and some new players as well that will be drafted onto the panel. It gives you a good handle into sort of the players themselves and what they're capable of. But yeah, something certainly that I'm really looking forward to. Like the bar is obviously raised in terms of expectations within the county, but then it's also raised in terms of expectation within the playing group and the management as well. But Derry and Tyrone are down into Division 2. It doesn't make it any easier to look for promotion out of that there. New management in a couple of counties within Leinster as well isn't going to make it any easier, but we get involved in elite level or the top level of intercounty sport, is to be challenged at the top level. So absolutely, to me, it was a no-brainer to try and get involved. Great experience for me, and then hopefully I'll be able to add a bit to their group as well also.
I'll wish you luck every week, apart from the Derry game. I won't wish you any
That's
luck
the first
whatsoever.
weekend. That'll be the first weekend, so I believe.
There you go. You're not going to give us 2 points then, I take it.
No, we'll see. There's only new management in Derry, so it might take us a wee bit of time to find your feet there. Kieran will not be long. He was there long enough. He knows that playing group long enough that I don't think there's a bed-in period needed for him or the players. But again, yeah, that's like, obviously I was involved with Sligo last year. You're going up a notch now in terms of caliber of player you're coming up against, and the experience in the lane, and opposition managers and coaches. So yeah, there's nothing that wouldn't excite you about it, to be perfectly honest.
Aaron, thanks a million for your time. Brilliant to get the insight of somebody who's actually walked this competition so many times, and all the best for the rest of your season. And folks, you can tune back in on Monday. We'll have a review show to see who the last 4 are, and to see how much action there was and where the games were won and lost.